Hi, hello, and welcome to the start of the actual parade route. Now, the route goes from here in Piccadilly all the way down to Parliament Square, and we're going to explore it and find out some of the stories behind the buildings and landmarks on the way. But we're starting right here outside the world-famous Ritz Hotel. The doors to the Ritz opened in 1906, and it set standards that London had never seen before. Now, over the last 100 years, from here, we'd have seen an amazing trail of people going into the hotel. We'd have seen Charlie Chaplin, Judy Garland, Winston Churchill, Britain's wartime leader, and in the 1950s, the American film actress Tallulah Bankhead, who very famously sat at the bar in there and drank champagne from her slippers. Now, from here, outside the Ritz, the parade goes all the way down Piccadilly, past Fortnum and Mason's, which is the store which has provided the royal family with their groceries and food for the last 300 years, all the way to Piccadilly Circus. Well, here we are in Piccadilly Circus. We've come all the way down Piccadilly, the route's come along, and the parade now goes down Regent Street. But we're going to have a look here at the actual circus. I'm standing underneath the statue of Eros, the god of love. And it's said that if one of his arrows hits you, you'll fall madly in love. Okay, well, the parade has made its way along, and here we are in one of London's most iconic landmarks, Trafalgar Square. Now, Trafalgar Square was built about 160 years ago to commemorate a huge naval battle. Now, the man in charge of the British fleet was that man up there, Admiral Lord Nelson. He died during the battle, and in order to preserve his body before they could bring it back and bury it, he was put in a huge barrel of French brandy. What a way to come home. But for us, the parade continues. Well, the parade has now made its way from Trafalgar Square down here into Whitehall. And this is Horse Guards, where the troops have been guarding the sovereign since 1660. Now, don't be fooled by those traditional costumes, by the way. These men are frontline troops who've been working in some of the toughest conflicts of the world. Now, look up at the clock. You'll see a small black diamond where the number 2 should be. That commemorates the execution of King Charles I, which took place here in 1649. Just over there, there's a small black bust. This is where the scaffolding was that the king was executed on. It was a freezing January morning. As the axe came down on the king's neck, everyone surged forwards. He was a very popular king. There were cries, there were sobs, they dipped their handkerchiefs in his blood. This road, Whitehall, is the site of what was once the biggest palace in Europe, built by King Henry VIII. It stretched from here all the way down to Parliament Square. Today, Whitehall is the main corridor of power in the country. Down here on the left is the Ministry of Defence, and on the other side of the road is number 10 Downing Street, where the Prime Minister lives and works. Whitehall itself ends in Parliament Square, the Houses of Parliament, the House of Lords, and the constitutional heart of the nation. This is the end of Whitehall, and this is the end of the parade route, where the grand finale takes place. I'm standing here in Parliament Square, surrounded by some of the most iconic landmarks in the world. There's Big Ben, the House of Commons, and over here, Westminster Abbey, where for almost 1,000 years, most of our kings and queens have been crowned, and where Prince William recently got married. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our brief look at the parade route, and can I take this opportunity to wish you a very happy New Year.